Hey guys, welcome back to Red Devil TV. Martial has left Man United officially yesterday. He's gone to Sevilla, who are second in the league. Couple points off Real Madrid, guys. Let's talk about Martial. Let me just get straight into it. Martial, I'm quite upset he's gone. Let's talk about earlier in the season. He played against Everton. He played in the Carabao Cup where we lost to West Ham. He played another game with Ronaldo up top as well earlier on in the season. Overall, he's been playing a couple of games. He's come off the bench a couple of times as well. I'm going to be honest, Martial did not start off the season well. But then again, how can you judge a player off a couple of games? You can't. You can't. And if I'm going to be honest, I think Martial wants to play as a striker and he just wants to play football in general. You know, how can you blame him? He hasn't played. But you can argue the same with Van der Beek. You can argue the same with Lingard. And we'll get into these players in a bit. But Martial, I think, will be a big miss for us. I think the fact that he's gone and the fact that Rangnick just let him go, you know, it's funny because he you know, of course, there was talks how Cavani wanted to go and that Rangnick wants Cavani to stay. And he mentioned it in the press conference as well, how he wanted Cavani to stay. Cavani is gone in the summer, as far as I'm concerned. And Martial was obviously a better long-term option than Cavani. But I think what the problem is here is that it's either Ralph doesn't rate Martial, even though the press conference the other day against West Ham, he clearly stated that he sees Martial as one of the best striking options in the Premier League, and he still didn't play him. And I know there's a bunch of competition for it to play in the first team, but I mean, I think Martial, when you look at it, we seem to forget what a threat he is. And I know a lot of people are kind of against Martial. They call him lazy. They call him all these sort of names because he doesn't track back, whatever. And to be completely honest, the only times I haven't seen Martial track back is when he's playing up front as a striker. And you don't always want your striker to, you know, to go. You don't want your striker to be all over the pitch a lot of the time. And we've seen Ronaldo in the last couple of games drop deep, try and get the ball, try and get involved in the game. And I think Martial's going to be one of these strikers in the future where he's not going to necessarily work that hard. Which is, you know, look how many strikers nowadays don't track back. And now, number 9s nowadays are just lethal box finishers. That's what they are. They're in the box, they get a header in, they get a shot just outside the box or just in the box. And I think, in my opinion, I think nowadays, some strikers lack that tracking back, that hard work, that mentality back in the day where, you know, I know people are kind of against, even in the midfield, you know, people talk about, number 6s, number 8s, number 10s, like a midfielder should be able to do everything. A lot of people say that, but nowadays the game has changed. You look at now, there's talks about Haidara and Kamara and all of these, man, and especially this number 6s. Apart from Haidara, he's more of a box-to-box. Even a Ruben Neves, box-to-box as well. He's not really a defensive midfielder. And, you know, I think right now the game's evolved into a place where players have positions where they specialise in that position. And, you know, you can talk about other players who might be able to work on either wing, or they can play as a striker and they can play as a cam. You know, even a Kamara can play centre-back. He can play defensive midfielder as well. Similar roles. Of course, you need to be able to defend and all of that. But essentially, I think with Martial, I think he wants to play as a striker, and I think that's why he hasn't played this season. Of course, he came on the left wing. You saw what kind of threat he made when he came on. You saw the directness. You saw the way he wanted to play a quick football, the link up between him and Ronaldo. You saw the difference when he came on, and I think he's a much bigger threat on the left. I would be very confused why Martial wants to play as a striker. And maybe he just wants to be a goal scorer. Maybe he wants to be the difference in the game. And maybe that's why he's leaving in Sevilla. I'm not sure about the situation at Sevilla right now in terms of the players. But I know for a fact that they're very close to getting that, to catching up to Madrid anyway. So, hope he has a good season. Honestly, I hope he has a good next half of the season, Martial. And he's going to come back to us anyway. There's no buy option. Sevilla can't buy him. And if a new manager comes in, you know, they might consider him. It is what it is. And let's talk about Lingard. Lingard's been a player who hasn't come on many times anyway this season as well, like Van der Beek as well. These players have been in talks of leaving. Newcastle were willing to pay 10 million just to get him on loan, Lingard. So what does this show? Newcastle really want Lingard. Of course, there was rumours of West Ham, and there's even rumours of Leicester now interested in Lingard as well. Again, if I was Lingard, I would leave. He's almost turning 29. He needs to play. He's not young anymore, Lingard. You know, he's in his prime. You know, between 28 to 32, you're in your prime around that age, and he hasn't played much this season. So look, 10 million just go to Newcastle. If I was Lingard, I would go. There's too many players in front of him. You got Pogba, you got Bruno, you got even Van der Beek. Even I'll say Lingard is probably in front of Van der Beek. Lingard needs to play. He's a good enough player to start for any of these teams. He's definitely a player who can play in a West Ham and a Leicester, and he would be a first team player. I think the reason, look, if I was to give my complete opinion why Lingard hasn't played much this season, or much at all, is because when he has played, he hasn't been great. He played in the, what was it? He played in the FA Cup. He didn't look good. Actually, no, it wasn't in the FA Cup. It was the Champions League, the last game of the Champions League, where Rannick made some complete changes. He made 11 changes, pretty much. And Lingard didn't play very well. He was quite lazy. His passes were off. He tried to shoot from everywhere. And this is the thing about Lingard, it's consistency. And you can say the same about Martial. Why didn't Martial play a lot of games? His consistency is not good. Earlier on this season, a couple of games, he didn't really take his spot on, except when he played against Everton. And I think that's the issue with Lingard. It's consistency, it's his decision making, and you would expect more from Lingard. He should go for me. He's going to start with against Newcastle. Of course, in his mind, he might think they're going to go down. I don't want to play for a team who's going to go down. I don't think Newcastle will go down. I think Norwich are definitely going to go. Watford, yes. Norwich. There's definitely a battle there. And look behind us now. Wolves are picking up points. Tottenham have still got games in hand. Arsenal are looking to get a striker. There's, Adama Traore to go to Tottenham. Guys, we need a midfielder. And let's talk about some of the midfield options. Apparently Kamara, close. So we said it with every midfielder that we've had talks with. Haidara. So many other midfielders. Ruben Neves at one point was close, apparently. They were in talks with Ruben Neves' his team. Come on, it's nonsense. But look, there's a couple of days now until the end of the season. Until the end of the transfer window. I don't know. We're gonna have to. It's gonna have to be a mad one. Look, Kamara. He's meant to go in the summer. He apparently he's free in the summer. Free to go in the summer. Marseille. Are we gonna get him? Are we gonna pay money for him? Zakaria was mentioned a week ago. 6-7 million to get him. I don't know what to say, man. But all I want is a midfielder. It'll make sense to get one now and get one in the summer because I think we need two. Is Pogba? In the beginning, we could have talked about, is Rannick going to play this 4-2-2? Is he going to play Pogba next to, in that pivot role with defensive midfield? And then you have Bruno and Sancho or Bruno van der Beek or whatever. But I think at this point, he's going to stick to a 4-3-3. And I think he's going to have to play Bruno with two other midfielders, obviously, next season. He's not going to get two midfielders, obviously, in January. But let's say, for example, we had two midfielders. Let's say, for example, we saw the performance Declan Rice had against us. He played well in that game. He low-key plays well, Declan Rice, against us. I think sometimes we tend to forget he doesn't get that much involved in game, but he was more involved in this game. You saw his tackling. You saw the way he was making it hard for our attacking players to be creative up front, to get that final pass to our attack. Even the midfielders, you saw how many times Declan Rice got a good tackle in, and he just got control in that midfield, And the funny thing is, he's a holding midfielder in West Ham, but he almost plays like a number 8 sometimes. You see him driving forward, you see him putting those passes into the attack, and he gets himself in dangerous positions where he wants to shoot at times. And you saw the difference what a proper defensive midfielder does. You saw McTominay and Fred do that same role. Declan Rice was basically doing every role, and you saw Souček and Declan Rice dominate that midfield, and I think we definitely defended well. McFred defended well in that game, but you saw the link between the midfield and the attack wasn't there. And that's the difference between their midfield and our midfield. And look, let's say, for example, we got Declan Rice in the summer, and then we had a Ruben Neves. So you would have a Ruben Neves, you'd have Declan Rice, and you have a Bruno, for example. Pogba's not going to stay for me. Pogba's going to go in the summer, definitely, in my opinion. Even if we were to keep Pogba, let's say, for example, we got Declan Rice, we had a Pogba and a Bruno. I don't think it's going to work. You need a player who's... how many times have we seen Pogba lose possession of the ball and then he tries to get possession back? He gets caught out of position. He's not a good tackler, Pogba. He's had a few red cards over the few years when he's made a stupid tackle. He's not decent. He's not good defensively. He's not great at picking up the runners. And I know we talk about McFred, but Pogba is not all that good defensively anyway. And we're going to need midfielders who can do that job well anyway. And I think Ruben Neves is one of them. There's so many. Obviously Kamara, of course, Haidara is more of a box-to-box. He can definitely do that role with a Declan Rice, or if you get or Zakaria in the defensive midfield role. And I think Declan Rice is a player who's probably going to be talked about in the summer. 90 mil, are we going to get him from that much? Is it worth it? I don't know. Declan Rice is definitely one of the top midfielders in the world at the moment, if you ask me. But look, let's see what happens there. There's still talks of Van der Beek apparently possibly going to go in this final week. Talks about Bailly. Milan want Bailly. It'll be a shame if Bailly goes. I think he's our best combination at the back, if I'm completely honest. I think Maguire's suspect. I've never really rated Maguire that much. I think he was good against West Ham. You can't play him in a high line, man. He's going to get caught out. You're going to have Varane to bail him out. And it's going to bite us this whole season if you play Maguire and Varane. I think Lindelof is a bit quicker than Maguire. He's better positionally, in my opinion. He's got a better ball forward. Look, I think the problem with Lindelof he's had over the few years is he gets bounced off the ball a lot of the time when he's been counter-attacked or for skillful forward, he's putting him under pressure, and he struggles in those type of situations. And I think Lindelof and Maguire are almost similar in the sense that the weaknesses they have similar weaknesses. But then you look at Varane and Lindelof, I think they're very similar centre-backs as well in terms of they look to put a ball forward. He's not as quick as Varane, obviously, Lindelof. But Lindelof has a great ball over the top. And we've seen it loads of times where he got an earlier on, he got an assist. It might have been against... I don't remember who it was against, but he put in a brilliant assist for Rashford earlier on in the season where he put a great ball over the top. And those are the things that Lindelof has. And I think Maguire just doesn't work in a high-line system, if you ask me. So, guys... let's see what happens. I'll do another video this week in terms of, talking about where Man United are at, what we should change formation, what players should come in. Guys, let me know what you think about the current situation at Man United. Who you expect... well, it's a bit early to say who's going to play against Middlesbrough, but what midfielder do you want in this week? Hopefully we get one. I think if we don't get one, I think we're not getting top 4. And look, I don't want to say that they're the difference makers until the end of the season, that this midfielder, if he does come in. But I think it could be a change, and I think we're getting slightly better over the last few games, and a midfielder would be the icing on top. If you ask me, I think a Kamara. I just think we need a defensive midfielder. I wouldn't be against getting a Ruben Neves, but it's not going to happen. Even if we got a CM like a Hadara, who's more of a box to box, I think we would definitely. It would benefit us, definitely. But I think even if you get a Zakaria and these players who are 7-8 mil, they're not going to be in front of McTominay and Fred. So I think we need to keep that in mind. So guys, let me know what you think. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.